Yeah.
And Ollie, you said you'd started buying already for a job.
Well, I start back. Oh, hello, Nat. I can see you.
I thought we were going to have Nat like on a vertical there for a moment. Hey, Nat.
Yeah, I just launched it on the phone because it was actually batteries running out very quickly. Right, I've got to get some sound going. I can hear you. I hear you.
That looks like a pro rig you got going on there, Nat.
Yeah. There you go. Let's do that.
After 5 months of lockdown, we've all slowly got used to this method of communication.
Not yet. Hi, Ollie. Good to see you.
Yeah, and you? How have you been?
Oh, much the same. Hair and makeup.
And Nat and Anna, you guys haven't worked together before, huh?
We have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Ollie and I and Anna and I have all worked together, so
nice.
we know each other's foibles and strengths.
Right, let's lead with the strengths. I mean, if we can make any funny stories of the foibles, definitely let's do that. But yeah, leading with the strengths.
Oh, God! Well, I can say, Anna's very, very dedicated. She's obviously very talented. She's very, I know that this business is emerging out of a complete kind of sexist dinosaur, world, and so. Being a woman and stuff in certain situations, but Anna doesn't take any shit, and she gets right in there when there's like stuff to do, heavy lifting, or I mean, my funny story about Anna is feeling very sorry for her that she had to go to some meeting and she was all like dressed nicely, and next minute she's got a paintbrush in her hand and has to paint, standing in a muddy field and has to paint some fences, and. There was no time to change or anything, and her lovely clothes and appearance, was just, Are you? I hope that's not embarrassing, but that gave
How
me
did the meeting go?
That gave me that felt I admired Anna for that, because I said, here's a team player.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How did the meeting go? Did you get the job despite?
I think it was. It was in the middle of it was actually in the middle of production of Two for Joy. I think you had that was something we were putting that fence up around that awful reservoir.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh, that was.
What was Two for Joy, Anna? What was that?
That was this feature we did. We had to spend some time down in Newport in Wales.
Oh yeah.
And that was, we had this like last minute drama with these fences, and oh God, yeah. We got through it though. That was fun, wasn't it, Nat?
Yeah, it was. It was fun. And it's one of those movies that it looked great and on paper, and the performances were great, but it was such a heavy story that I don't think audiences really found any joy in it, although for the director and the actors and everything, I mean, all of the cast have done well out of it, and it's one of those things you do for critical acclaim, but no one's ever seen the movie,
Sure, yeah. So, my wife and I watched yesterday When They See Us on Netflix. Have you heard about that? It won international drama.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a hard watch. The last episode is an hour long of a guy in solitary confinement. It's intense and just
lots of set dressing.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and a lot of dreams and things.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. Sometimes it's an experience more than an enjoyment. But yeah. So guys, let me kind of lay out. I'm so dark. I've now got to level out with these giant windows behind me. I've now got a massive light in my eyes, which I'm not a big fan of. But okay. Yeah. Anyway, so let's figure out kind of how this all takes place and everything. Like, what do we do? You saw on the email that I kind of broke down the hour into little sections.
Yeah.
Where I'll basically introduce what First on Set is and what I started these webinars for, and then introduce each of you around the clock or whatever. I'll probably start with Anna and then just go clockwise to Nat and Ollie, and each of you just kind of introduce yourselves better than I will be able to, and give us a little history about your credits and what it is you do. Remembering that the point of these webinars is to kind of help explain to people who are getting into the industry, you know, what it is that what you do. You're like, what does your role actually entail? People don't know, who haven't been on a set before, what a standby is. They don't know that there's someone in the office buying all of the dressing and the props. They might not even know what props are unless, you know, they play rugby and that's what they think props are. It's really not funny. I'm not going to make that joke in the actual.
That went right over my head. I'm not got a clue what you're talking about.
The two people who stand behind the hooker, also not a very good name for someone in sport. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I'll go around the clock or whatever and introduce you guys. And I just want to hear a little bit at the beginning about how you got there. Give us some context about what you did at university, and then what led to that. If you went to university, your Batman origin stories. And then we'll kind of do an industry water cooler type thing where we talk about what we're doing now, what we're doing next, what we just worked on, kind of where we are in our careers now, and well, not my career, but you know, what you guys are up to, and just kind of shoot the shit a little bit. Anna is working on a production right now, so it'd be really interesting to hear about how you're managing that, Anna. I think, Ollie, you said you were also gearing up on something.
Yeah, I start back on Silent Witness on Monday at the BBC.
Right. Wow, okay, cool. So they're intending on shooting in a month or so?
Yeah, September we start shooting.
Right.
Yeah.
And Nat, is anybody coming to Suffolk at the moment?
No, I was going to do some reshoots on the Cash Truck, the Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah.
I was going to be, that was just about a week, I think, and then it cancelled because they couldn't get the cast over because of insurance, so that vaporized. No, I'm available, guys. So if you hear of anything, and
well,
yeah.
You know, that is kind of, you know, partly this whole thing is to introduce people who wouldn't have normally had access to this kind of information without going to film school, etc., or getting on set. It's kind of a chicken and the egg, you know, so I'm trying to help people understand how to get to set. But also it helps us kind of put a footprint on the world and say, you know, if anybody's looking for us on YouTube or on Google, there's a little bit more extra help for us to find us, etc. And it's proved pretty popular. I've done 3 now, and the attendees on Facebook tend to be better than they are on Zoom. So if you see in the corner of your screen attendees 4, then don't worry. People are listening. And also, I'm going to cut up all of the content and put it on YouTube eventually as well, so that, you know, we can, you know, people can watch it for a while, and find it if they need that information. So yeah, a couple of pointers to watch as well. Try and be I know we're having a chat, and the whole, you know, the fun of that is that we can kind of bounce around, but with 4 people, and with the way that Zoom works, we have to be quite pithy about the way that we talk, and not kind of, and not step on each other. Basically, you know what, like sound tell us all the time, can you 2 actors fucking please say your lines separately? That's kind of what the situation we're in here as well. The second someone tries to start responding while the other person's talking, the audio muddles not nicely. So yeah, so let's just try and be careful of stepping on each other's lines. It feels weird to say to you all. But yeah. Any thoughts or I remember I sent you this cheat sheet. Has anybody got any fun things that they'd like to talk about? Is there anything there that you're like, oh yeah, people need to know that?
I think just for me, the questions were really helpful because before I've been thinking all week, like, oh, what exactly shall we be talking about? But yeah, so I've been going through these questions this morning, so they're all really good. So I'm happy to answer any of them.
Okay, so I could throw to you at any point, Anna, with one of those, and you'd be like, oh yes.
Yes.
No, good. Okay, that's the point of them as well. Just because I see that potential as well, where everybody's like, we've ground to a halt at some point. Although I can imagine the loquacious Nat will always be available to jump in.
No,
and tell us a story.
I'm terrified, but yeah.
You shouldn't be, Nat. Like some of the posts I see on Facebook. I mean, like they're tomes. You need to write some books, man.
Well, that might be what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, good. You should.
Yeah.
Tales of a prop master in and out of the van or something.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. It's easier when you're distant from it. You know, you write about something, and then suddenly you're on the spot. But yeah.
So actually, weren't you writing a book about an actress or something, or a producer? I saw on one group that you were researching some interesting person from the film industry.
Well, yeah, because I've been pitching TV docs, so that's where a lot of these things come from. My interest, if I find a really good thread, and then there's a group a bit like this of just where we banter about TV ideas. We actually have got meetings. I could talk about my side business maybe. We've got set up meetings with commissioners at Channel 4 and stuff, because they realise they can't do the sort of round of meetings that you used to. You used to go around and knock on doors, Right. So that's something that's been happening in lockdown. But no, I haven't done specifically a book, although people do tell me I should. But on that kind of Zoom meeting thing, if you would be more like a chairman and maybe just cut people off and then say, Nat, have you got anything to say? Because I do find I hold back because of this whole Zoom thing. Sometimes the point goes on. So if you want me to say something, just give me a nudge or something.
Yeah. So yeah, indeed, I will steer it. I will make sure that we're keeping to time. We're keeping to the point, and I will ask you guys individually to comment on certain things. So. Okay. So yeah, don't worry. You won't. I won't say, okay, go, and then smoking. I don't smoke anymore anyway. Although lockdown has tested that to the limit. Yeah. Ollie, any things on that list that you were like, oh yeah, there's some good stories there or whatever?
Let me have a look again.
What is going on? There seems to be like is that a Pussy Riot kind of hat or something in the background?
Yeah, it's like a communist pink hat that I found in a charity shop and thought that needs to come home with me. So
yeah, that's pretty special, definitely. I'm sure that the communist state would not enjoy seeing their paraphernalia pinkfied.
Anything jumps out. What is an idiom? An essential idiom?
Oh, like DFI or
oh right, okay.
86 and DFI are the same kind of thing. So yeah, or just what do people say on set, like on the day,
we're not saving, we're not curing cancer here.
Yeah, exactly, we're not curing cancer.
Yeah.
Or if they see that, then we're in trouble.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. There you go. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, yeah, we still got a couple of minutes until it's launched.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go for a comfort break or get a glass of water, anything like that.
Good point.
Go and do that now, and it will last about an hour, so you know. Cool. No, I've had two. Yeah. Everybody, go to that dinner? So, Nat, are you still working at that factory?
No, that was too dangerous. You know, there were the outbreaks and stuff, and also, yeah, they got rid of me because they shut the production. They halved the production down, so they got rid of all the temporary people. Yeah,
because of the danger, because there are too many people in one place and the danger of spread.
Yeah, that and also the sort of sudden, the huge spike in demand that they had for chicken sort of leveled off. Yeah, and they had too many people. It's absolutely brutal work. I was so glad to be out of it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Fair enough. One of my mates once worked in an abattoir, and he said it was punishing.
Well, I mean, one of my things, you know, I wrote about it. It puts it in perspective on a film set. You know, because we do 12-hour days like a movie.
Yeah.
We get 20-minute breaks. You don't get an hour or anything. You come in and you get a 20-minute break after a few hours, and then 3 hours and 40 minutes you get a 20-minute break. 3 hours you get a break, then you get another break, then you can go home. And it's like, I was thinking, God, if movie people had to work like this, they would well, it's just like they're actually, I know we compared to someone who like works at the council, who turns up at 9 and goes home at 5 and has an hour off, you know, we work really hard, but in the chicken factories, they work even harder. So I guess it puts you in perspective.
Maybe that should be the title of your book, In the Chicken Factory.
Yeah.
That's I mean, like that's some tenaciousness, mate. Well done for doing that.
Well, you do what you must, you know, and that's something I mean, you know, I think some of the things I have to say about the industry are quite negative, you know, and you know, that sort of tenaciousness is something that if you want to get into this industry, you're just going to have, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. Definitely, I think that all too often film schools, etc., they're all like selling this dream of Elysium where you're getting to do what you love for a living, etc. It's hard work, and then in between, certainly as you're coming up, in between jobs, what do you do to bring in income? And you know, how do you even then when you've made it? I remember when I decided, okay, I'm just a first AD. From one job to the next, it was so difficult just getting first AD jobs and not just climbing the ladder as a third, second, blah, 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 you know? It was impossible. I know it's 10 o'clock. Okay, just, Ollie?
He's gone.
Well, I guess we can start slowly going live here. I need to do a couple of clicks before that happens. But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about that tenaciousness, Nat, I think that's a good idea for sure.
Okay.
But be careful of, we're trying to encourage people into the industry as well. So being realistic, but not being fatalist or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Post your live video. Are you there now, Ollie? I've
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, cool. Okay, so guys, we're about to start. I feel like I should have some music, kind of, you know, like film 99 or something. Does anybody play the piano?
I do actually. I've got one here.
Want to bring us in, Ollie? Okay, sorry, it's just my 10-year-old Mac taking a moment to load everything up. Okay. Davina, what were the other things called? Meet the crew. What were the other ones called? The phrasing of it, of the videos? Don't worry, I'll find it. I'll find it. Sorry, guys, one sec.
Oh, a bit nervous.
You guys will be great. Don't worry. Yeah, it takes a moment or two to get into it, but yeah, it's you'll be fine, I'm sure. Oh, I think I hope no, we're not live yet. I have to click this button. Okay, so here we go, guys. All right. Okay, we're going live.
Everyone.
Oh.
Good stuff. Yeah, so I think we probably are live. Yeah. Waiting for my producers. Yay. So, but also my wife. If anybody listens to the, well, I can't remember his name. I'm not going to remember any of that stuff now, and my mind's going to go blank as we go into this. Brilliant. No, we are live. I saw it on the thing. Okay, so here we got to go live on Zoom as well, broadcast. And I'm preambling a little bit just because there are some people take a moment to kind of join the call and everything, and I don't want them to lose out on hearing who you all are and what it is that we're doing here. So I think hopefully now we're all live and we can start our next webinar on the art department, from First on Set, which is an outfit that I started early last year to train up PAs with some lingo on set, how to use walkies, what the various departments do in film, and just give a bit more of a lead on what to expect getting into the film industry, how to do that. And then, of course, lockdown hit. And I thought, well, what do I do now? I did have a boot camp organized for March. And then, yeah, coronavirus hit and that all got put on hold. But it looks like we're coming back in October at Riverside Studios. So I'll keep you posted on that. Please follow the Facebook group for updates or have a look at our website. All of that information is somewhere clickable near you, but we can't see you, audience. We can only see each other. And so let me, without further ado, introduce you all to the world. Let's start with Anna, a production designer who has a number of credits. She's actually working on a film right now. We worked on a gangster film together about 3 years ago called Once Upon a Time in London, which is on Netflix. And The Courier, also on Netflix. Both seem to be receiving great plaudits and enjoyed by many genre films, I would say. What was The Courier again? That was I haven't actually seen it yet, but it looked fun.
Yeah, it's about we've got Gary Oldman as our gangster who's under house arrest in New York, and he's there's a bomb planted to kill their one and only witness, and then he's saved by Olga Kurylenko, who's this really cool chick riding a motorbike, and she comes in and sweeps him off his feet and saves the day.
Cool. So watch the trailer then, or you don't need to watch the trailer now. You've heard from Anna.
Watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer. That's on Netflix, and yeah, very, very nice to have you here, Anna. Looking forward to hearing from you. And we also have Nat Bocking, who's a long time in the industry now, came up in props and has worked on some amazing films that you would have, if you're into your genre films as well. You worked on Maniac Cop and The Wizard, and all sorts of cool stuff from America, and now here in England. What's the? I saw you'd worked on Yesterday. Was that pickups, or did you do?
No, that was local. I was a local hire as a dressing props on that. So they came up to Suffolk and Norfolk for 3 months, and I did about 5 or 6 weeks here and there, dressing Galston, which was the main, the main town the main character was in, and then I was second unit props, and it was great. It was so lovely to be, working sort of close to home.
Nice. I only saw the trailer, but it looked like a cool film.
Oh yeah, it's a great film. I mean, it's a Richard Curtis rom-com, but it has some great moments in it, and some obviously great songs. The last thing I did was my brain's gone now. The Windrush Generation, Stand By Me. The Windrush Generation film that came out in February.
I thought you were referring to the Steve McQueen TV show coming out soon.
No. Sorry, not Stand By Me. Sitting in Limbo. Sitting in Limbo was the BBC drama about the Windrush generation. I did that just right. I literally wrapped the day before Christmas. And then, of course, lockdown hit.
I heard good things about Sitting in Limbo. I need to catch up with that for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Player, I'm sure. And we also have Ollie Reynolds here, who, actually, I've worked with Ollie and Nat on, we worked on quite an interesting Chinese TV show. I think one day there was the lead couple were riding down the beach on a white horse for him to then receive an owl, which had a message that all of his the people that they had their pretend wedding had been blown up by. That was a ridiculous day on set. So Ollie, you were our art director, but you've
I think I was standby art director. Yeah,
you were standby art director.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had kind of a varied career, and in coming up into the position which you are now, would you say you're kind of a production buyer now? Have you found your oeuvre or your position? Do you think?
I'm still sort of working various positions in the buying department, I guess. So it depends what I'm working on. I'm currently working as a petty cash buyer at the BBC on Silent Witness, but I work as a buyer on commercials and sometimes some features as well. So yeah, I sort of fluctuate between.
Sorry, say again. And
I sort of fluctuate between the roles depending on where I am and what's going on at the time.
You've just started back again with Silent Witness in prep. You've got about a month before you start shooting again.
Yes, so I think I've got about 3 weeks. I go back on Monday because we started in March and then obviously everything shut down. So we're starting back up again. Well, I'm starting back next week. I think some other people are sort of staggering it, I guess.
It's a tight ship. I worked on Silent Witness a few years ago, but I think all of the staff has changed. You're not, Robert Foster isn't your production designer anymore, I don't think.
No.
We've got strike back now. Who's the production designer now on Silent Witness?
Jason Carlin.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know them?
I don't, but there's many of us all in the industry. Get clicking and find out who all these people are. Very interesting, and look forward to hearing more about that in a bit, Ollie. But maybe Anna, you can tell us a little bit about your CV, how you got into the industry. Tell us a bit about how you got started, and what expectations you had, or what were you trying to achieve when you started?
Okay, cool. Well, actually,
4 questions. Just
I'll try to answer all of them. So actually, when I started, because I was studying fashion at university, and I was still quite unsure about what I actually wanted to do, and my course was very broad as well, and we did a lot of like photography and styling and illustration, and so I was very kind of confused about what pathway I was going down. And then for my final project, we focused on film and illustration, and I put on an exhibition. I made a short film, and I did that. And my friend, who had just started working in TV at the time, she was like, "Oh, I think you'd really enjoy doing art department." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's you can actually do that for a job," because before that I'd never thought about it. And so that just sparked it really. And then I graduated, and I started working in the art department, and then I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Oh, wow. So you production designed, or you were art director on a short film, or you directed that short film?
I basically did everything on that short film. It's just that I hired a camera out of the library, took my friend, dressed her up, did all this, and then and then I created the set of this woman's bedroom. It was all about memories and objects and stuff like that, and I curated the exhibition. And then we had the short film on as well. And then so after that, I just started applying for art department assistant jobs. And I got onto this very, very low budget horror film up in Lincolnshire, where it was literally me and a production designer. So I was thrown straight in there. I learned, a lot on that job. And then from there, actually, the first AD from that film, he was also working on a lot of music promos and things like that at the time. And when we got back to London, he called me and he started getting me on music promos, and then it just went from there. So that was a really good first connection to make, actually, because he kind of developed then I started art directing music promos, and just went on from there.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So there seems to be kind of some negative energy about working for free or low budget and everything in this industry. And understandably, as you go through your career, you don't want to be known as someone who is going to be working for pennies. But actually, to get going in the first place, you need connections, don't you? You need to meet and network with people, and working on that low budget film led to another thing, and started that process for you. So interesting to hear. And these music promos, then how did they lead to, because you were art directing, and then at some point you kind of made the leap to production designing. Like how did that transition happen?
Yeah, so that was quite a bit further down the line. I was doing art directing smaller music promos, and then also assisting other people on bigger jobs. And then I applied for a feature film. It was actually with the production designer Paul Burns, and I was his art director. Yeah, who knows as well. And then so started working with him, and I did a few films as his art director, and then also with other designers as art director. But I always wanted to go into the designing route. So in between then, I was like, designing short films and things like that to build up my portfolio. Right. And then just one day decided that I wasn't going to do the art directing anymore, and I had to just stick with the designing route. So, and I'm still going.
And moved on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting, cool. And so, tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a designer. Like, what is it that you have? What does your day look like? Is everything done in prep? How do you go from the director's vision of the story to your designs on set? How does, I know that's a big question. I don't know where you would start.
I think for me, it's I guess it's the same for people, when you're just reading a really good book and you can instantly see every single thing in your head, and you're always like, oh, if they made a film about this, that would be amazing. And I think that's where, when I read a really good script, I can instantly see, where our character's living and every single little thing they've got in their house, and that's what you want to bring to life. And it's just really exciting that you actually get the opportunity to do that. And then when you're there on the first day on set, and you've, sets you've been working on for weeks and running around frantically trying to find everything, and all the work that goes into it, and then you see it all and it's lit beautifully, and you see it on the monitor, and you're like, oh, this is amazing, we did it. And that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, that must, more than anybody, I suppose, the environments that you read or what you envisage before production starts is actually, you're able to kind of realize that in a way. Sometimes the writer, the film doesn't become the same as what the writer intended, or the cinematographer isn't able to, pull off anti-gravity like they wanted to or something. But you're able to kind of really have quite a lot of impact on the environments, aren't you? What the film looks like as a production designer. Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you for telling us a bit about that. Nat, would you tell us a little bit about your journey in and how you got started in props, and is that where you intended on going? I saw at some point that you actually stopped and went to film school.
So my journey was very long time ago. Giving away my age, I was at the Labour Exchange, as they used to be called, or the Job Centre, and they said, so some people need some labourers for a movie. I was 16 at the time, and I went down. It was Euston Films, and they were making a TV series called Danger UXB, and they literally need people to shovel dirt around and make bomb craters and do all that kind of set dressing stuff. So they went to the job centre and just got some bodies in. So there was about 20 guys and films, university students and all kinds of people. Anyway, I guess I must have made an impression, and they kept me on because we did this one huge set dressing job at Beckton, which later was destroyed to become Full Metal Jacket. But we were there when it was just it's a bit of history. It was like one of the first films made at Beckton that the minute it shut down as a gasworks, and then there was this, a sort of 150 acres of just amazing stuff. So we made it into World War II.
Now I'm not going to be able to watch Full Metal Jacket without thinking, oh, that's actually a gasworks. That's not.
Yeah. So long story short. So I then stayed on with the prop department. And when we did that set, and I came in at about the third episode and then stayed on for the whole run of 12. So it was a fantastic summer for me, and I was 16 years old, and it was great. Now, one of the ironic things was, I learned a lot. I was working with these prop men who were like real old school, been doing movies with like Alfred Hitchcock and stuff. They later on went on to do some amazing movies, but I was only 16 at the time, and I couldn't actually join the union at age 16. I got another job because then it was very unionized. You had to have a union. There's no non-union in Britain in those days. Then I got a job at a sporting goods store, and I sold skateboards and stuff. And then I ended up we went bust.
We don't need the entire.
I know. Well, I just want to say that was my start.
Pretty arty, though, I have to say.
Anyway, that was my start. That was my first taste of it. Then I did something else for 3 years, and then I ended up in America. And I was on a kind of gap year, and I saw an ad in Variety that said film crew wanted, and this goes to the sort of no pay jobs. It was film crew wanted, room and board, no pay. Right. And I thought, well, that's great. I was like looking for something to do, for a summer job. Went down there, met these wonderful people who were film students at the AFI, which is a very prestigious school.
Yeah.
And because they said, have you ever done this before? And I said, 3 years ago I did Danger UXB, and that was actually playing on telly then. So they said, oh, great. So they put me to work with a production designer from New York who'd done theatre but never made a film. So he was working on the film for nothing. We were out in the middle of the desert, and we had to build the set into 1930s Texas. So we spent 3 months living on hamburgers and rice and beans. They ended up paying me like $5 a day, but they couldn't actually pay me because I was an illegal alien. Anyway, long story, that was my beginning into the film industry. The producer of that film, you know, liked me and said, oh, you know, I know some people and da-da-da-da-da. So I got onto Roger Corman and worked my way up from there.
Oh, nice. Which Roger Corman film did you work on?
I did one called The Terror Within, which is pretty one of the good ones.
Yeah, that does sound familiar. Who directed that?
Andrew Stevens, who's a kind of Hollywood director producer, and he starred in it. Oh no, sorry, Terry Knotts directed it. It was produced by Andrew Stevens, who's Stella Stevens' son. We had George Kennedy in it, the great famous Oscar-winning actor. Yeah. And it was a basic direct rip-off of Alien, shot-for-shot rip-off of Alien. Where we even have a great chest-burster scene where the blood literally went 50 feet in the air. That was a big cleanup. And yeah,
he was famous for doing that, wasn't he, Corman? The one I worked on was a remake of another Roger Corman film, Bloodfist 5, but this one was set in Ireland, and the nuclear detonator this time six-pack of Beamish, because Guinness wanted nothing to do with this film.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there was this guy. I was told there was this guy who'd been there who was a bit of an asshole, but he'd made a few waves and he just left and directed his first film, and his name was Jim Cameron. So you know, it was like, you know,
came from that school.
It's a lot of big, good film school, yeah. So that's how I started, and that's kind of, I was always really kind of comfortable. At one point, somebody said to me, "You get the piano, I'll get the sheet music," and I thought, I'd rather do props than set dressing, because props is kind of cool, and you're more involved on set. And set dressing is a lot more off the set and a lot heavy work. But actually, over here in England, it is actually props is set dressing as well. So you know,
but the line gets more muddled here, does it?
Yeah. Well, it's the prop master. The prop master in the UK is what they call the lead man in America.
Right.
The prop master in the US would probably be more like an art director buyer, because they just divide everything between hand props and set dressing. But as the prop master, you're responsible for buying all the hand props as well.
Oh, I see.
And you make them, or you have them made, or whatever. You do the entire hand prop kind of breakdown, and you're responsible for delivering it.
Well, that's an interesting potential for a segue to Ollie, who is a buyer currently, and can tell us a little bit about how Ollie you. Thank you very much, Nat. That's really interesting, and definitely encourage anybody watching to go and have a look at Nat's CV. There's some gems on there. Ollie, tell us a bit about your journey into the industry. How did you come to know that you wanted to do art? Did you go to university? Did you shovel dirt in wheelbarrows in the English country?
Yeah.
What happened?
Mine is not as exciting as Nat's was. I went to uni, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in film at that stage. I knew I wanted to do something. So I studied film production, and then it was either my second or third year, I think it must have been my second year, specialised in production design, or design for film. I graduated that, and then a lot of it was work experience, really.
Specialised quite early. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Sorry, what was your question?
You specialised fairly early, actually, rather than discovering it. Like Anna made a short film by directing it, and then going, "Oh, actually, I quite like this side of it." You knew quite early on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, well, I knew it was either producing or production design. So it was sort of my first year of uni was sort of working that out, I guess, and then as I went into my second year, I sort of knew it was art department really that I wanted to do. Once I graduated that, I started doing work experience, and even working with people that I went to uni with as well was quite handy, because people get onto different short films, and will take you on, and
yeah,
some of the tutors as well helped us out with that kind of stuff.
Sure, you kind of build a network there. Everybody's interested in doing the same thing ultimately. And that network, those people that you meet from one project to the next are hugely important in your career doing well, right? I mean, it's all about the next people that you work with.
Yeah. Also, at our uni as well, or probably at most unis actually, everyone wants to be directors or like DOPs. So probably at my uni, there was probably like 90 people who were specialising in directing, and then like 4 of us who were doing production design. So they just like passed us around, everyone, essentially. So we came out with a lot more people, I guess, knowing what we were doing than everyone else.
Because potentially maybe people who end up in art department would be doing another course entirely, that they would be doing fine art at an art school or something, and then make their way into production design. Do you meet people from that background a lot in the industry, or?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I think people do, and architects as well quite often move into production design and art direction as well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a lot of people, when they think about careers in film, just automatically think of camera and directing, and that's sort of their glamorized idea, I guess, of what film is. But there's so many other departments that are equally as important.
You've struck one reason for Meet the Crew, Ollie. This is I can't think what it is. The chrysalis, or the center of what this is about. Interesting. So then you started kind of with your friends, art directing and designing these shorts, and how did you then move from there into something more professional, or how did you make it paid work?
Well, it was through work experience initially, and it is just contact building, really. They always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. But yeah, it was, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I did a short film for a designer who then put me onto another short film, and the director of that was the production coordinator for the film Pride, which I've got the poster for here.
Oh, sure.
Who then ended up getting me a job in the art department for the reshoots of Pride, and that's kind of how my career sort of...
Oh, brilliant. I worked with George McKay on a short film where he was like, he was working in a brothel. I did about 4 or 5 brothel movies in a row at some point, and was worried that I was going to be the first AD solely on brothel films. But yeah, I'm really pleased that George McKay made it out of the brothel and onto Pride, and then 1917. Must have been a nice film to work on in Wales, right?
Yeah, but I did the reshoots actually. So it was, they shot most of it on location in Wales, and then when we had to reshoot bits, we basically rebuilt the interiors of the houses and things in Wimbledon Studios, which I'm not sure is still going anymore. I think Wimbledon Studios shut down.
You know about that?
Last time I went down there, there was a big construction site. So yeah, maybe I'm confusing it. Yeah, but
I think Twickenham Studios has maybe opened up again and taken that business over or something. Something about that. Yeah. Oh, no, okay, interesting, excellent. And then so that led you to the art department on bigger productions, and one thing led to another.
Yeah, and then I sort of worked through, I did some sort of light entertainment stuff for ITV, and sort of got to know different buyers and different art directors, and then they sort of take you on to things. I guess a lot of like working your way up, you're also working your way up with the people who are above you also working their way up.
Yeah.
Times, so you're sort of stepping up with them, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of stamina involved, isn't there, in this industry? Like, if you think that you're not getting anywhere, it's actually the staying power that allows you to keep on moving. You just have to kind of have that patience and that staying power to keep going.
You definitely have to learn quite early on, I think, that you will get another job. It might just take a little bit of time. There was like, when I first started, I would get so scared that I was never going to work again, like when you finish a job, because you don't hear about anything for like 2 weeks and you're like, I'm never going to work again.
2 weeks is generous. I've had much larger gaps. I mean, coronavirus is testing my patience rather as well. Anna, you're working. Sorry, very very good, Ollie. Good to hear about some of your process there and everything. We'll come back to you to hear about some buying and what that job entails. But Anna, maybe you can tell us a bit about, since that seems to be a natural segue into the patience of waiting for the next job to come in. You're actually working on something right now. How's that going, Anna? And how are you navigating the new world of working in coronavirus?
We're taking it day by day. I think I mean, after having so many months off, I'm absolutely exhausted after being back just like 1 week on set. It's like getting your physically, your body and your brain fully back into it and back to those long days. And but we're getting there. It's interesting. You have your COVID supervisor on set every day taking your temperature, and everyone's wearing masks, and that's a whole new world as well, just getting used to having that mask on all day. So it feels very weird.
And does it have to be a clinical mask that's like, like sucked to the, what, can you have a beard? Like,
I guess, I mean, you can have a beard. I guess I don't know how it feels with a beard and a mask, but
you don't know that.
We're getting there, and we just have to take each day as it comes. And I mean, the good thing is because we were supposed to start before lockdown happened, so we've had a lot of extra prep time, which has been quite nice, and like time for me at home, and it's kept me busy as well, just maybe doing a lot more prep than I might have had previously. So that's been good. And we're getting there, and you just have to be extra cautious about everything. And it's interesting, like, zip locking all the props and making sure everything's been cleaned, and all the locations are being sprayed down and things like that. It's a whole new world.
Like steam sterilized when everybody leaves, and they get steam sterilized or something. How do they?
I haven't actually seen it happening because I'm not there at that point. But I think they go in and someone's in like a big suit and they just spray everything, a bit like when you do for bugs, or Right,
I was just thinking of the Breaking Bad episode when they cloak the house or whatever. Yeah. Well, interesting. And are things slower? Have you got longer to shoot this, or?
Yes, we were given extra time, which has been good. So yes, I feel like the days feel a bit more doable now. So we have a lot more time to prepare everything, and we're still doing full days. It's still long enough, but we're doing less scenes in a day, but it means we're still getting everything done, and so hopefully we can achieve everything we need.
That sounds interesting. Excellent. So can you help us, for people who don't know what a normal day is like on set, Anna? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you would normally do as a production designer once you've done all the prep and you've designed and you've sourced all the props and the dressing and everything. You've started building the first set. What is your first day on set like? What are you thinking about for the 4 weeks or 5 weeks of that upcoming film? What would a day in the life of Anna be like on a film?
Hectic. Because normally you've got so many different locations, or whether it's you're doing builds as well, or we're just on location, but you're working with the schedule, and it's my job to kind of get ahead and be preparing for all the other sets. So, you get that first set done and everyone's in, and that's good, and you have your standby team there. But then you've got, maybe 20, 30 other sets that you need to prepare for. So you're straight in you know, getting everything ready, and you've got your team as well, and you've got your buyers sorting out all the props and everything. So it's still very full on throughout, and then even, you know, once the shooting crew have moved from that first set, your team is then in there clearing all that up, and so it doesn't just magically appear and disappear again.
Yeah, you guys are full on, aren't you? The art department. I've noticed it always seems like the busiest department on a film set. Actually, you're kind of there when everybody arrives. Everybody leaves. You're still there, or a new team has come in to kind of strike the location. You seem to be doing more hours really than anybody else as well, I feel. Everybody's nodding yes, no. Although I can say that to makeup and costume as well. They'll be like, yes, no, we do the most. But yeah, I mean, definitely it's a very practical department, isn't it? I think anything that has design in the title, you think, oh, it's about prep, and this is what it's going to look like and everything. But actually, and maybe Nat, you can tell us a little bit about the standby team on set as well. Like, it's very practical, isn't it, guys? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we are the problem solvers. The standby team of props. We inherit the set from you know, Anna and her team have come in. The prop master and the dressing team have come in. They've roughed everything in place and have dressed the set. And then the standbys arrive with the shooting unit, and we sort of take over. And Anna will say, look, there's more flowers over here. You know, we'll need to redo those, and you'll need some of this, and there's some extras for this. So we have like the resets and the extra props, and Ollie has been out and probably bought all the things that we need. So as standbys, we kind of walk into these sets, and it's our job to keep it the way that Anna wanted it. Right. And also our job to do everything that the production needs. So we will shoot the scene, and we will have the hand props for the actors and everything like that. And then they say, turning around, and the DP will look at me and say, can you get that sofa out of here? So the standby team will get the sofa out of the way, or, you know, redress it. And then, of course, we'll come back around again, and we will put the prop team will redress the set. And obviously, you know, we'll do the continuity. So in terms of the people who are, you know, at this seminar, you know, who are not familiar with set, the standby props is pretty much everything, the furniture, the hand props and everything. That's us. You yell props, and our team will come running and get the film.
So would then be at the monitor.
Yes, there's
being the right hand arm of Anna on set, huh?
Yeah, that's it. There's a standby art director who is. Because there is actually a division between props and art department. So the standby art director is the art department on set, and is watching the monitor and is telling us on the standbys on the set if there's something they want us to do, or, you know, could you move that lamp a bit? It's looking, you know, it's incursing in frame. Or also we meet up in the morning with the standby art director, who has been in contact with the production designer and giving us feedback, and also will have usually been given the props that are needed for the day, normally come to the standby art director, or they come straight to us, one or the other. But we get together first thing in the morning, and we go through the sort of day's work, so that we're the ones actually behind the camera, and the standby art director is sitting watching the monitor.
Yeah, sure. And you're kind of keeping ahead all the time on the scenes that are about to happen, almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
The continuity of those props that are used at the time.
Making
sure that, you know, so Anna's seen in the production designer has seen in the script, oh, there's this teddy bear that's so important, and making sure that hero prop is taken care of and not ripped apart.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we take all the hero props, and, you know, once they've been given to us by the buyer or the production designer, and they may be needed again, you know, we put them on our prop truck. We're responsible for them. You know, and then if we need them for another scene later on, obviously we're responsible then to have that, get that out and get that ready, you know, so it's on our props table for the scenes that it's used for. And then at the end of the show, you know, we as the standbys will hand back all of the props to the prop master, and that the prop department will make sure the stuff goes back to.
Oh, nice.
Where
Okay.
it is.
I'm for some reason I'm thinking of Toy Story at the moment. Have there been any moments where all the props went walkies?
There's some very funny videos out there by I can't remember her name, by a woman who does like the lines you say on set. And one of the truest ones is again, if you are a PA or something on set, you know, if you're wrapping a cast member and they're sort of walking back to the trailer, they go, "Have you got any props on you? You know, please, you know, let's give that gun back to the standby, or you know, or give that jewelry or something. You know, if you're wrapping to the end of the day, you know, make sure they've given their props back to the standby." Because
I totally hear you. I worked on Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, and the cast were also happy to be wearing these cool 60s, 70s clothes that they typically didn't get out of the clothes or give the props back at all. They just went home in their cabs, fully dressed. And, trying to keep track on all of those things.
Yeah, well, wardrobe and standby props have similar concerns about actors walking off with. I'm not saying they do it all the time. It's usually inattention. They just want to. You know, you're always running to their trailer and then rummaging around trying to find. 99 times out of 100, they've left the stuff on their table. But it's always a bit of a thing because at the end of the day, you've got so many things to do. You've got to get out of the location. You've got to round up all the props. You might have to strike the set. So, you know, it depends on the location. Some days, you know, you have to shoot and strike the same day. But otherwise, you know.
Definitely a busy department. Ollie, can you tell us a bit about what happened? So Nat's on set with the standby team, and you're in the office, and you've got a few other individuals around you there. You've got maybe a graphics designer who's designing labels for bottles or any books that might be needed or something on camera. Can you tell us a bit about the office and who you find there?
Yeah, so, well, it kind of depends on the production, to be honest, because obviously different productions have bigger offices, and like Nat was saying, a lot in the States, but over here as well sometimes, but I think it's if a States production comes over here, the art department will be split, sort of set deck and props are kept quite separate sometimes. So we would have, let me have a think. So we'll have the set deck department, which is quite often a set deck buyer, maybe an assistant buyer and a petty cash buyer. We'll have the graphics department who, do all like the posters or labels for things. So we'll buy a bottle for like a bottle of wine or something, and they'll change the label, and then it goes off to set. We'll have the art director and the designer. Who else do we have?
Well, that's okay. I mean, people can also watch the credits. Maybe that wasn't the most interesting question for you, actually. So maybe tell us a little bit about. I was having a beer with the production buyer, bizarrely from Mission Possible last week, and he's telling me, like, you know, there's changes here, there's changes there. Like, I think they've just set up in Denmark or something now. Can you tell us a bit about the reality of how that looks for you? So just when a script change comes in and the art department, how do you guys are on your toes like immediately, right? Because it's the first environment that anybody has to go in before they've done any work. You have to be ready, don't you? So how does that impact you? Like when the script changes and things.
I mean, the scripts change constantly on everything, so we're always pretty much ready for the script to change. Even like the day before, the script will change. It's always easier when they cut stuff out than when they add it the day before. But yeah, we've had, like, I've been on things where they've added whole sets the day before, like bedroom sets and stuff, and it's a bit of a frenzy those days, I guess.
Any tips that you would give to kind of dealing with those situations? Like, is there like a props house or I don't know, a magic wizard that can you know, like, is it Beauty and the Beast or whatever, where they just everything falls into place? don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, we always say we're not magicians, so but everyone always seems to think that we just have everything in a prop store somewhere that we can just put on set and it'll be ready, which is not the case. But obviously there are prop houses around London.
But you must have some tricks now, Ollie, like doing buying for a while. Like, where would you, do you have some markets around London or something that you would recommend going to, or?
It depends what you're looking for. I go to Shepherd's Bush Market a lot for fabrics and things, but there are prop stores, like there's Super Hire, which is, I think it's the biggest prop house in Europe now.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's, so they do furniture and they do sort of accessories and things. And then you've got sort of armourers. There's Bapti and Foxtrot and Cohort, who do the sort of weapons and things.
Okay.
But if you have weapons on set, you usually have to get an armourer as well.
An armourer for that as well.
Yeah.
Any tips for how to get last-minute bits and pieces from around London? We have a few questions here as well coming in. I've just suddenly realised that we're 15 minutes away from the end, so I try and make use of our time as best possible. Anna, any tips of how to deal with production design? Have you frozen?
Oh yeah, I think mine went a bit delayed. Can you hear me okay now?
No, you caught up. Yeah, you went through a very rapid moment, and then.
Oh. Okay, good. I mean, yeah, in terms of like last minute on the courier, actually, we lost our main car park location like a day before we were supposed to go in to start dressing it, and we had big builds and everything. It was like 3 levels of an underground car park, and it fell through. So then we had to quickly find a new location and turn that around, and we had, you know, a week to do 3 weeks work, but we actually managed to get it done.
Fair enough. Like you, so, it does seem impossible when I hear these requests come through for you guys. I always do wonder, like, how on earth are you going to do it? But yeah, this is why people think you're magicians, because you do somehow make it happen.
Yeah.
Countless times I've gone to the producer's house and literally cleaned out their living room because they, you know, something happened. It's a weekend. The prop houses are shut on the weekend. And we literally say, well, what have you got? You know, and I say, well, I've got a sofa and you've got a dining table. And, you know, so we kind of run around and raid people's houses. I tell people never, ever, ever lend anything to a movie. But if you're the producer and you created this scenario, I guess you have to take responsibility for it. So I've done that a few times, you know, literally cleaned out their children's bedroom, you know, and boxed and brought it all back the next day. But that's something that just happened, you know, a location fell through. So they'll quickly think of something to fill that gap. This is more of the low budget stuff, I mean, you know. So yeah, have lots of friends who like to collect interesting stuff, and then you can call them when you need a prop or something that just can't be found, you know. I mean, as a prop master, we've all got boxes and boxes of might be useful stuff that, you know, and then you call around and saying, you know, has anyone got one of these?
Yeah. When I was doing the costume webinar, and they were all great collectors of reams of fabrics.
Yeah.
Their houses started to become, I mean, if you have a look at the video as well, all of them have loads of books behind them.
Yeah.
Reference and reams of fabric and everything. I'm sure you end up kind of living in your own prop house almost.
Try not to.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, got a garage crammed full of stuff, which, you know, and then suddenly, you know, and it's always, whenever I decide to go and give it all to a charity shop, the very next movie comes up, I needed exactly that. And I go, sometimes I've even gone back and bought it back from the charity shop. So,
yeah.
Hello.
Sorry. So Anna, I was just trying to restart your video because maybe it just frozen on mine, but yeah.
Am I back?
Your audio has always been there, but every so often you freeze in last moment of the Breakfast Club kind of leap. But anyway, so maybe Anna, you could tell us a bit about, well, anybody who also is watching and wants to ask some questions from our panel, please feel free to do so on Facebook, on the video. There's, put in the comments below, on Zoom as well. If you have any questions, please put them to our panel. A question I'd like to know, Anna, what were the biggest challenges that you faced climbing the ladder in your career? And also, can you start your video? I've asked you, I've sent a request, but I'm not sure if that's got through.
Oh, see, it's on my computer. It says stop video, so I'm assuming that it's working because my screen is up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have we got a? Sorry, darling, my producer. We've lost Anna on the Zoom video. Can you just have a look and see if it's all okay on Facebook? Yeah. Do you guys, Ollie, Nat, can you see Anna at the moment?
I can. Well, Anna's frozen on Facebook. She's frozen. But
we're going to try and get your video going again, Anna.
Yeah, I can hear.
But we can hear. So tell us a bit about the challenges you faced climbing the ladder while we figure out how to relaunch you.
Okay, hopefully my face isn't stuck on too weird a position. Yes, I think when I started, I mean, for me, the biggest challenge was trying to support myself as well, because I was doing a lot of free stuff just because I needed that experience and because I didn't have the education as such, and so I just wanted to learn as much as possible. And I'd moved to London as well. I didn't want to be at home anymore, and so then all of a sudden I had to pay rent and support myself, and so I did work part-time at the beginning and things like that, because otherwise I don't know what I would have done. So I think that was the toughest challenge to start with.
Indeed. What was some of the work that you did? It's definitely a consideration you have to pull in when you're starting upon industry work, film or TV. That you're going to have to augment your income at the beginning, certainly. Throughout, to be honest. Nat, you've been working recently in a chicken factory, you said.
Yes. Well, that's because, when the lockdown happened and there was this whole thing about, we need to do the food supply. So I signed up, with the supermarkets and everything, and local chicken factory was hiring people. And just to give, it gives you a bit of perspective of the film industry, because I was working in there 12 hours a day and I was getting 3 20-minute breaks a day. The noise was infernal. You're working with wet, frozen meat. It's really horrible. Please don't, mama, don't tell your kids to go up to be chicken processors, because it's a rough business. It was great to give me some perspective on the film industry. And then when the production crisis was over, because I was agency, obviously they let you go, which is just like the film industry. But I have written a long story about it, and it definitely fuels some imagination for stories, and also makes me miss being on set and appreciate it, the small mercies that we get.
What kind of work did you do, Anna, then in between stuff at the beginning? How did you augment your income?
I worked part-time in a boutique in Notting Hill on Portobello Road.
Oh, right.
So I was there for a few years, and then weirdly, actually, a girl I used to work with also now works as a production designer, but we kind of went our separate ways. But then I saw her name recently on something, so very strange.
So that's a route.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, can I tell you, Christian? I mean, a piece of advice that was given to me a long time ago by a well-known DP was, he and I followed it, was that if you wanted to work in camera, the best thing to do in those days was to go down to the camera hire companies and work on the counter of the camera hire place, because you would meet everybody. When I was in LA, I went and worked at the prop houses. Just as I started as a cleaner, and I got to meet every prop master and every decorator that came through the door. And after 6 months, I knew enough people, and somebody said, "Oh, do you want to come on set?" And I was like, "Great, see ya." So, you know, that's a good way to break in. Is that don't forget these rental houses, or like Anna, you know, you work in a shop or you work in a furniture shop. Some of my assistants and stuff have come from like being window dressers in a department store, because in a sense that's a set, and they're really good. In fact, so many brilliant people have come, you know, past me that way. And I've done other jobs in between movies that are kind of, you know, I've done bar work, and I've sold solar heating, and, you know, to think those sort of, I always have a few agencies signed up. You know, when you're starting out, get onto all those different employment agencies.
Well, it feels like we're starting out again, doesn't it? Like, I know Ollie and Anna, you guys have got work at the moment, but I think Nat and I are in a slightly the same book again. I'm having to think, what did I do for work once upon a time? And certainly, what do I do now for work when hospitality has disappeared? So it's definitely, for people coming out of university, I definitely feel for them right now. Like, how do they get into the next step of their career? So, yeah. Ollie,
well,
tell us a little bit as well about what kind of work you did as well to kind of augment your career or supplement your career.
Yeah, I guess I worked in a bar for a while.
Bar work is important. Yeah, got to learn how to make a margarita.
Yeah, but that was kind of it, really. I just sort of pushed into what I wanted to do. But I think there's obviously a lot of privilege that comes with being able to afford to do that. I think there actually needs to be more done in the industry to help underprivileged people get in, because a lot of people can't afford to spend a year doing work experience or working for very low amounts of money. So I think there's something that we looked into there.
Yeah, that article from the producer of End of the Effing World mentioned that he got his start in the industry unpaid for 2 years. And yeah, that's unrealistic to imagine that anybody but middle class kids are going to be able to do this.
I just say that, you know, I worked as an intern, as an editor for 6 months, and in LA, but, you know, I did that. But my editing career basically came to an end because I couldn't afford that time. I managed to work and save up, but there was no, you know, that was an area where you were expected to work for free. So I went back to props and stuff, and you know, but it was good experience. I got to see post-production, but it is something about the business all over the world that there is a privilege of working for free, and if you can support yourself through that, and that really does shut the door to a lot of people. I didn't have a privileged background at all, and you know, so I've always, my career at the beginning was very much driven by will I get paid and can I afford to live, you know?
Yeah, and actually that is a good way of getting into the industry. I think if you accept that you might not get paid here or get paid there, then actually what you're doing yourself a disservice. And the industry, you're kind of encouraging this environment that everybody's going to be working for the passion of it or something. And evermore, it's not a club. It's an industry that is serviced by countries all over the world. And, you know, it's not just Hitchcock and his pals making this stuff. It's all of us. So there needs to be a bit more policing and systems to kind of encourage growth from all sorts of areas. Indeed. Go on, sorry.
I say we don't have much time left, but I mean, there's an example of two movies, in fact. In Suffolk, we don't have a lot of work here, and there's a lot of keen people. So we went out and made films ourselves, and by making 8 short films, Nobody was paid, but we weren't exploiting, anybody, because we were just making 8 short films. We tied them all together and made a feature film, and that's called With Love from Suffolk, and you can see it. And they're just about to release. The people that did that then went on to do a film called The Haunted Hotel, which is about to be released. Now, there's a very clear agreement with everybody that if any money is made, then it will go to the people that worked on it. I don't see anything wrong with working for free as long as it's not exploitative. What I have a problem with is, say, $1 million corporations employing people and not paying them. But if you're a bunch of friends getting together or film students getting together, by all means work for free, because it's the only way you're going to get it done. And it's very good experience. You meet people, and as their careers go on, hopefully they'll remember you, or you follow with them.
You also find out what work you're cut out for as well. Exactly.
Doing
it, be a PA or be an extra and just watch a bigger set. But you definitely have to get your hands dirty and see that you want to be an art director or something else. Anna, if you were to talk to yourself back again at the beginning, would you give any fresh advice to yourself?
I don't know. I feel like maybe when I started, I wasn't aware of more things that were available to me, and kind of short courses and little buffers of things you can do in between as well, and things like screen skills. They do a lot of courses and supports and stuff like that, and I'd maybe try kind of get more information on that stuff, really. But I think work-wise, I'd still I think it was still good. You learn so much being on set, I think, more than maybe you can learn studying. I don't know, just because every job is so different, and there's always a new challenge, and there's always something unexpected that's going to be thrown at you, and so you can't be prepared for everything.
Right, sure. And it's just doing the job that's where you're going to learn the best.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, good. Ollie, any parting words of wisdom to people getting into the industry now, or something you would have done different if you went back again?
I don't know if I would have done anything different.
It seems like you chose where you were going to go, and you went for it. And
yeah, I think you learn a lot from mistakes anyway, so I would never change mistakes, if that makes sense. And you learn a lot from other people's mistakes as well.
That's true. I'm sure we have all independently learned from each other's mistakes.
Yeah. Learn to drive would be a good piece of advice for our art department, because we're forever driving around, picking up.
Buy some dungarees. You guys seem to wear dungarees quite a lot.
Love dungarees. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a cheap jab at the art department. I don't think you're wearing dungarees, Nat. Unfortunately.
No, I go for Dickies. Actually, good American workman's clothes. Buy lots of black clothes. Buy good quality. If you have a little bit of money and you want to buy a drill, you're going to use that drill for maybe 20 years. Buy a good quality one. Would be a bit of advice I would give.
Warm clothes, waterproof, some warm clothes.
Definitely. Invest in your comfort. Definitely. Best pair of boots, most comfortable boots you can get. You're going to use them a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We haven't mentioned that on any of the webinars. Indeed, your comfort is key, because sometimes you're out in a field painting fences or whatever all day or night long. Doing night shoots as well, and it's cold. You need some good stuff. Go on. Sorry.
So I was about to say, never turn down the chance to nap. If it's appropriate. Because that lunchtime, don't bother with Facebook at lunchtime. Go find a quiet place, lie down, get even just 10 minutes kit.
Have you ever been called Nat Bocking by anybody?
Sorry, being called?
Nat Bocking.
Nat.
I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, no, every joke under the sun. And you know, that's another thing about this business. I mean, yeah, you've got to have a thick skin. And one of the you're going to ask, I think we're out of time. One of the nice things about this business is that we really are a tribe, and we do bond, and generally we all look out for each other. And that's one of the nice things about, you know, you form this family on a film set, and you go through ups and downs, and generally you come out of it feeling much happier. It's always sad to leave a movie set, but generally 99% of the films I've done, I've actually felt it was after all of that, it was been a positive experience because of the people, you know, and so that's one of the plus sides. But
yeah, true. Yeah. Some of your closest friendships are kind of forged in adversity a little bit. Something has come between you and a friend, and because of having to accomplish something together, you're actually closer friends, and that happens constantly on film sets. So yeah, no, well said indeed. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this panel on the art department, and for sharing your expertise. It's been really interesting. I would keep on talking all day with you, but I have to pack up this house, and we're moving. So the art department has moved into my place to do that. But yeah, thank you so much, and best of luck on your project, Silent Witness, Ollie. And I didn't hear the name of your film, Anna, but I'm sure the name will probably change anyway before it's actually released.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Nat, as well. See you guys. Take care of yourselves. Good luck out there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.